Patrick Jackson's book came out in 2015 and really didn't pick up steam until around 2022. We sat down about a year ago and went over his amazing theory on orbs, UFOs, the paranormal, and how they're all related. He's got a great theory. It's pretty solid. You should check it out. We sat down here again and we went over more of his recent findings, his latest revelations, and what he's been working on since. This is his first interview, I think, since the last one he and I did, and you're in for a wild ride. Check it out.
Yeah, time's gone quick actually, and I haven't actually done any more since your one either.
I know. You kind of went quiet, but I think that was by design, right? That wasn't something where you were just like, hey, I'm not going to talk anymore, because I think you got involved with some people that said maybe you had to sign some NDAs, maybe you had to sign some things where you were like, hey, I can't talk about these things anymore right now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But yeah, but in saying that, there's going to be some news coming out about that soon, hopefully. So,
good news, I hope, right?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's been a bit hectic.
Right. But it had to be hard for 2 years not to say shit, though, right? I mean, because honestly, I think your videos right now, currently, it's like the most viewed on my podcast, and your video has like the most questions that I've always had, and everybody is always asking, and me and you, and you're really good about talking, giving people info, and basically you're like, go watch the video, read my book, it's all here, right? It's all there. Like, I'm not hiding anything. It's right here. It's right there. Like, what more do you want me to say?
Exactly. Yeah. Because the truth is that you give one person a detailed answer, and then 10 minutes later, someone else will ask the same question again, and you're just like, oh, come on, just
scroll up. Right, you're like, scroll up. It's right there. It's literally
So I mean, after your one, I mean, I went through so much that I didn't really have much else to say, and there was other things happening afterwards, and so I just thought, well, just see how that one goes, and carry on from there. So 2 years later, a lot has happened, and now I'm on Twitter a lot more, and people. I'm starting to get the idea out there more. So and I think people who can understand it really just get it straight away, and other people just struggle to process it, and I don't know why, but that's the way it seems to be.
Well, I think you were right, because you and I wanted to, when you reached out, you said, you're an IT guy, I'm an IT guy, we can talk about this on a level that both of us understand, right? Like both of us can, we can kind of understand this, from a technology standpoint, right? And then from there, build that as the base, and then from there,
that's right,
build up from there. And I think we did a good job of that. I think we did, you and I anyway, we kind of, like you said, if you get it, you get it, and if not, I think that, everybody, you can lead a horse to water, right? but you can't make
it. That's it. And I mean, regarding all the sphere stuff anyway, I mean, it's worth noting that my book was written in 2015.
Right.
The news didn't really come out about the spheres till January 2022.
Right.
And it was at the UAP US hearings. And so I was kind of a little bit ahead of my time anyway. And the truth is that the spheres themselves are the major factor in UAP sightings. They're like the main, the bulk of them. And actually they account for 52% of all recorded sightings. So it's understandable that the US government, or the world governments as a whole, are kind of in a tough spot, because they're kind of like in a rock and a hard place. It's and really they can't really say anything. So I mean, I think the strategy is actually to let the civilians figure it out, because ultimately it doesn't matter what a civilian says.
Right.
The next day nothing changes. The markets don't change. Security doesn't change. People who are, if you want to say, the more smart people will think about what you're saying and say, yeah, you're probably right. And then you'll have reactive people who will just dismiss it. And you see, what I think the government really is worried about is reactive people. So all they're trying to do is stop people reacting. I mean, you look at how people behaved during the COVID pandemic.
Pandemic, yeah,
You
right.
couldn't buy toilet roll to save your life.
It had nothing to do with it anyway. I mean, I still try to wrap my head around that. Why that was such a
I don't
hot
know. I don't know.
bottled water's fine, food fine, toilet paper not happening. I just still doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
If the government came out and said UFOs were real, I mean, like corn dogs would you couldn't get a corn dog or something like. People are just
Oh,
wild, right? Like it doesn't make any sense.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, like my observations and my analysis has actually got the attention of a lot of people, and one of them was Gary Nolan,
All right.
who actually said that in a Ross Coulthart interview
Mm-hmm.
that I can go back 40 years and see these spheres in images which are
Right.
triangulating on the UFOs. And in fact, a year before the UAP hearings happened, the US UAP hearings, I actually gave a diagram to Senator Gillibrand.
Oh, Gillibrand. Okay, so you actually gave her like the diagram with the spears
Yeah.
surrounding a UFO.
Well, I didn't give it to her personally, but a friend of mine gave it to her. And that was this one here, so I can show you this.
Yeah, yeah. Let's check that out.
Let me just share my screen.
So that was prior. That was prior to the hear, like a year prior to the hearings.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So you see this?
All right. Okay. Yep. Yep.
Oh, move that. Oh, okay. So yeah, you have the type threes, which are they operate low to the ground. They create an underlying data link for the type ones. They use buildings to shield the electronic emissions and signatures. During high energy uplinks, they use actions to move people away, otherwise known as poltergeist activity, which is actually in alignment with the inverse square law of radiation. So what it's trying to do is move you away to stop you from getting hurt.
Right. So that gives you like that gives you the weird feeling, the spooky feeling, the ominous kind of. Well, I need to get out of here. Right. That's kind of
Yeah, that, but also more direct than that. Which I can show you. So I got video of that as well.
Oh, rad. Okay.
Yeah. So, and what it does, it creates like a dynamic network and move around to its needs, which is very similar to our own long haul microwave relay systems.
Okay.
So what you have obviously have three different types. So the type threes are the underlying data network. You then have the type twos, which are the data relays. They're like a dynamic system that they will fly around and they will basically uplink to the type threes in the buildings and then up to the type ones, which are up in the higher atmosphere. And then what will happen is there's actually a limitation of distance between the type threes and the type twos.
Okay.
So what they'll do is they'll start daisy chaining along up into the sky or over areas of high elevation.
Okay.
And stuff like that. And then what happens is that when you have these type threes, the type ones, they will then form these triangles, and they then basically surround and target other UFOs, other UAPs.
Based on the data they're getting from the type one or from the type twos and type threes, right? So they're getting data, they're correlating. So the type twos, threes are going, hey, there's UFO here. Here's the data. This is the information where it's at. And if those need to get higher up for the type ones to hear it, to get the data, they'll get up, they'll go in the air, they'll go, hey, the data link, the relay goes up. Type ones are up in the upper atmosphere, right? We're talking like outside of orbit, right? Probably. Yeah. Okay. So those get the message, hey, here's something, let's do it. The big ones come in, make a triangular formation around the craft that they got to do, and then that's when the magic happens. Like so.
So what it allows is that this relay system allows a stealthy data link. So from above, from like 100,000 feet, when it looks down on the ground, they can't detect the network because it all blends in with background radiation.
Okay.
It also uses burst relaying, so it only works when it needs to and shuts down when it's not. So what it allows is that when an object comes in, you can then triangulate and literally wrap around it like this. So you're talking basically a hypersonic 360-degree intercept system. It's been here pretty much forever. So this is what it is. Let me just stop the share and then get back to this.
So that's pretty amazing because, like you said, if you look back 40 years, you'll see it in photos, right? You'll see you'll see these orbs surrounding craft in a number of photos, right?
They use the same process they did then as they do now. It's just now we're seeing it more.
Right.
Um,
Because there's more people
so
picking phones at the sky and cameras and
exactly,
whatever.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And I'll show you this. This is some links I have. So just describe which one's which.
Okay.
Let me minimize this.
So you like some of these things are like, Patrick, how big are these things, man? Are they like the size of my fist? Like the smallest ones? Are they like that big?
Yeah, the type threes are literally the size of a baseball, sometimes a bit smaller.
Okay.
The type twos are about the size of, say, of a bowling ball,
Okay.
maybe a little bit bigger. But
Okay.
and type ones are much bigger. They're about the size of a beach ball, maybe a little bit bigger, give or take.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's the general size differences.
All right.
Let me show you this. So this was filmed by, I think, Ghost Adventures or one of them. And they're in
Okay.
a building. And as I said, the type threes, they operate in buildings. And what they can do, they can a thing called quantum tunnels through walls, which is exactly what we saw during World War II, because they used to come through the planes or through the wings and stuff like that. And in here, you can actually see it on LiDAR. Here it comes. There you go. There he is.
That black, it was black, right? Oh, okay.
So that's one example. I'll give you others.
Okay. So it's so when people are having these hauntings, people think their house is haunted and stuff's going on.
Yeah.
It's this relay
It's
system.
one of these.
Okay.
That's right.
Wow.
And that's why new houses with no history become active, while old houses that have loads of belows are not, because and also it moves around to its needs. So it'll move where it needs to, wherever the network needs it. But here's another example. Like these are completely four separate images. The top right, I think, is Skinwalker. The bottom one, the bottom left, the green one is that's taken in a field in England.
Okay.
The one on the bottom right is one in 30 East Drive, where the Poltergeist is. And then you got the one at the top, which is like historic drawings of these things.
Oh, these balls floating around. Wow.
So they're all the same thing. They're all the same type threes throughout history, all around the world.
Wow. So they look like a silver ball in broad daylight, and in nighttime when they boot up or whatever, they have like a glow, right?
Yeah. So what it's doing is energizing the air around it, which is producing photons.
Oh, so that's light. So it's creating the light around it. Okay, with photons.
That's right.
Wow. Okay.
So this is a good view of one here.
Daddy. Oh my God, it's bright. Daddy, I'm scared.
Is that a big ball in the middle of the road?
Not kidding. I'm not.
That's kind of weird.
Oh, Daddy, I'm not lying to you. I'm not kidding.
I just disappeared.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Okay.
So it's like, actually in remote areas, they're not as worried about being seen. So they just seem to just do what they want to do. It's just in populated areas they generally try and hide and keep out of vision.
Are they, one of the questions I had, I think you and I talked about it last time, but it keeps coming back to me was, why do they give a shit if humans are seeing them? I mean, like, what does it matter to them? There's got to be part of it for self-preservation, or are they more worried about whatever they're trying to take out seeing them than humans? You know what I mean? Like, so that like whatever's piloting the craft or whatever's piloting the craft they're taking out, are they more worried about those people seeing them or humans, or is it both the same?
I would say it's about the same, because they use the buildings to absorb the electronic emissions. So that's why they use the buildings in populated areas. But obviously in areas that are remote with no population, they seem to be quite happy outside.
That's weird. So they're not really concerned. I mean, they don't have a place to hide, so their emissions are probably getting spotted, right? At that point, if they're in the middle of a field, there's nothing to hide. There's nothing to shield them. So it seems weird that they'd be out and about unless they needed to be, right?
Here's another example here.
actually insane.
It is nuts. All right.
Wait, what's that?
What?
There's like a ball of light right here.
There is.
What?
And you'll notice there are always lights up around.
Yeah. They all kind of look like the same color, believe it or not. It's kind of hard from the
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
There's nothing on my thermal. It's just the IR. There's a ball of light.
It's only on IR.
It's only on IR.
Why would there be a night vision
I
light?
don't get it. I mean, look at that.
Hello? Yeah, I don't see anything. Once I go into IR, though, there's a light.
This makes no sense.
Let's go over there.
Yeah.
It probably just
Hello?
disappears again, right? That's what it is.
What?
Yep, gone.
What the fuck? No way.
So is it actually leaving the area, or is it just like visually disappearing? You know, that's
No,
it.
it just whizzes away.
It just
yeah.
takes off. Okay, all right.
Um,
Yeah, wild, man. So it's interesting. It's like why?
this is a good one. So this was sent to me from I think from Thailand actually, and this girl, look, you see it coming in the background here, and it
Yeah.
just flies by.
Wow. In a couple frames, like boom, boom, boom. It's probably taking real
Just a
fast.
couple of frames. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, like you said, it looks like the size of a, I don't know, maybe a beach ball, maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just do this.
Huh.
Here's another example.
Mexico. Oh yeah.
So in areas of high elevation, they have to work around it because they're using a microwave signal. So they would have like one at the, say, the bottom, then one at the top of the mountain, and so forth. It will just map the signal around. And that's why they kind of stay in the same area, or the same kind of, when they sit there, they sort of sit in the same point in space.
Mm-hmm. Because they got to keep the data link connected, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Wow, and then it just disappears. Interesting.
Then, so this is a type 2.
Este
No.
objeto dirigiéndose
That-
de la
is
zona
it
del volcán
smaller?
Popocatépetl hacia la zona norte del parque Iztapopo, pasando por el
So type 2s are the larger ones. So
Okay.
these are the ones that link down to type 3s.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah,
Threes are the
and
tiny ones.
people see this.
Okay.
Yeah. So people will just see these things for you. People see these things just flying around, and this is what they saw in Iraq. With the
Oh,
mobiles
right.
here.
Yeah, the one that they actually released from Arrow, right? The video of Arrow,
Yeah,
that orb that came through.
and that's one of these. And as you can see, it's over high elevation areas.
Right. Yeah, I mean there's clouds on top of that mountain right there. So,
And
and they're not slow.
then this one here. No. They're very, very nimble. So this here is then the V formations. So
Okay.
you have the type 3s in the building, low down to ground. They link up to the type 2s, and then they create the type 1 deformation, which is what everyone's seeing here. So this is what it is.
So these are type 1s?
And in the in the distance, you can see the type 2. The type 1s are the ones that cause the triangle.
These are
These are much larger.
and these are the ones that do the damage, right? These are the guys that'll take you out.
You see it? Oh yeah. The fourth one's over there. There's
Oh, look at
another
that. It just got dark. You can see it's black still. In the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah.
No, that's this one, This
Wow.
It is black. What the hell?
Here's
that's-
another example. That's the same one. This one, okay, this is really good. This is my the video I put together to show it all.
Oh yeah. So you got the V formation there, type 1, type 2.
Mhm.
So the target is above the canopy or whatever. It's way above. We can't see it, right?
Mhm. It moves as a single concise triangle.
Yeah,
So
it does. It looks like it's connected by it, like something to connect it all. Right.
So here it's in vertical configuration, which means the triangle's up on its side.
And there's another one over there. You see it? So we have one.
Ah, okay. So that's the one that's relaying the information.
Then we have two that split apart. One there and one there. But I'm keeping my. This is an amazing game. I've never seen anything orange like that in my life. Orange?
Planes don't fly like that either.
No, and
Jets don't fly like that.
jets don't fly, and they have colors on each wing, green and blue.
That's just pure orange.
No, green and red.
Dad, I'm talking about.
That's pure
that's
orange.
your
Yeah,
toy.
that's pure orange.
Listen to you watch it.
I will, but Jesus Christ, what is that? I know.
So the one in the middle is a type 2, probably, right? That's
This is a good one. This is over the Arizona mountains.
okay.
You see the formation?
Oh, yeah.
On the side.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
then see two following it behind.
Wow. They're moving. So they get into that V formation when they're going to attack something, right? Or is it just trains? I mean, is that the only time they're in that configuration?
Well, they're in that configuration when they're tracking something.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought it was attacking. Yeah. I thought they were in a triangle when they were trying to shoot something down. Same deal. Tracking and attacking, right?
Yeah, same thing.
Wow. You know, if you weren't paying attention, it would just be like something in the background, like a bug, right? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what is that? There's a bird sitting up there looking at it. Like, yeah, that's
And there's another type 2 as well. So as I said, daisy chains along, depending on how far the distance it is from the type 3s.
it's just
daisy chain along.
Boom, 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 boom. So it's still and that's still relaying something probably to a 3 down even lower, right? At some point.
That's right.
Wow.
Oops.
It's all right. It's just jumping around a little bit, a little laggy. It's okay. It's good for actually helps.
Whoa, look at those guys.
Yeah,
What in the fuck? Oh my God.
Those are real bright. Yeah, that's
holy shit, dude. Oh my God.
So what they're doing is they're jumping between vertical configuration and horizontal.
Oh my God.
whoa, because they're trying to like correlate or get a lock on something, right?
As it's going over, they'll move positions. Yeah, see this one here, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll flip it and we'll flip. There you go.
Right. So it's still keeping the same distance apart from each other. It's keeping that triangle still. Oh, there's 4.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, there's more than that there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is how it generally works. So it's just you can actually tell which one's which just by the flight behavior.
Yeah. Hmm. Shit. And these things, they emit, besides radiation, they emit a frequency also, right? Some type of frequency.
I think they did all sorts of things. But as far as I can tell, it's gamma radiation and microwaves.
Gamma and microwave. Okay. Wow. So if you were looking,
pretty amazing. I mean, this can shoot around like hypersonic speeds. So it really is amazing thing to watch.
and that's why they look like they just completely disappear, right? Because if it was just like the ones we were looking at, they were on the ground and people were filming them, they were ghosts. It was just like there and then gone, right? It was just,
Yeah.
they just take off. Wow.
But as you can see, the same patterns keep replicating every time.
Yeah.
The same process is replicating. It's the same thing.
Vertical, horizontal tracking. It's got one that's following it. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that it's a repeatable visual process from all over the world, right? You had Arizona, Mexico,
all over
England.
the world.
They're all doing the same thing. They all look the same.
Well, it's the same behavior patterns, same processes. It's
Right.
the same AI all around the world. And it actually works out that the spheres themselves are controlled from the ground up.
Oh.
So whoever controls them lives here.
Oh. Okay. So that was my question. That was going to be my question about the type 3s. I'm like, why do they have to be so close to the ground? I mean, if everything's they're messing with is up, it would make sense that their main control, right? So their base would be ground level.
Well, they're like satellites, but in reverse. So we live here, but we have satellites in space to relay signals around the Earth. But if you're trying to prevent stuff from coming in from space, you can't put your data links there. You've got to put them at the lowest point, which is the safest point.
Right. Because if you put them up higher, they're just going to get tacked right away from the top. Right. Yeah.
That's right. Because they're the weak point.
Yeah. These are orange.
Yeah, they actually changed color. They seem to go from red to orange to green. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe some sort of traffic lights or something. I don't know, but that's something I'm working on.
Yeah, those kind of remind me of the ones that I've seen, the orange orbs there. Interesting. Where you can still see it barely. It's black.
Yeah.
It's not charged up. It's still there. It's like repositioning itself.
And the thing is, you can determine the direction of the target from the position of the Type 2, because the Type 2 is always behind the Type 1s. So, and the target would be here.
Oh, okay.
This is weak. The Type 2 is the weak point in the chain. If you take that out, then the data link is lost, and therefore the V formation won't work. So it needs that one there needs to keep out of the way. It needs to keep nice and low and behind the main spheres.
So that's the one that's kind of like the fulcrum, right? I mean, that's the one that's the base pointing at directing directing the Type 1s to the target.
That's right, and it actually works out that you need one Type 2 for every group of or cluster of 3. So if you got like 6 of them or 7, there's generally, say 6 or 12. There's generally 2 or 3 Type 2s talking to them.
So in this case here, there's 4 here, so there's got to be another Type 2 popping around probably somewhere, right?
Maybe, yeah. Or it's daisy chaining, one of the two.
Or we just can't see it. It's going to be just black.
Mm.
Well,
and these are the Type 3 again. They're literally above people's homes sometimes.
Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but you said gamma radiation and microwave.
Mm.
Do you think these things could be responsible for harming humans?
Yeah, indirectly. Yeah. I mean, that's why they produce poltergeist activity, because it's all to do with the inverse square law of radiation. You want to keep people away from you when you're broadcasting. But we can get into that in a minute, actually, because there's some actual good data on that.
Yeah.
So
I know this guy. This guy's in Vegas.
Yeah. So this is where it gets good. So let me just get my screen ready.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew I was jumping the gun, but my brain's going a mile a minute. I'm thinking about, if you're standing next to this thing and it's blasting out gamma radiation in a microwave and you're not getting away, it's probably going to mess your brain up a little bit.
Well, yeah. So this is. Let me share my screen. So this is Steady East Drive. This is where the UK's most aggressive poltergeist lived. That's the place I first went to try and figure this stuff out.
Okay, right. This is like the most haunted house in England, right?
Well,
Like
some would argue Europe, and some would argue the world. I mean,
wow.
it's only a small place, but the police won't go in there. And uh, the it's just, you can't stay in there longer than a few days. It's just does your head in. Um, but if you look at it, if you look at the building here, you'll notice you got this side bit here.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to keep that in mind, because what I found when I was doing my testing in there is that poltergeist activity was computer-like. So what it's doing is keeps repeating the same patterns and processes again and again. And one of those patterns is this one here. I've got to show you this. This is brilliant.
Yeah. One of the questions that somebody asked was, are you going to take a thermal camera there to 30, that house?
Yeah, I can go into that in a minute.
Right on.
So you see this?
Yeah. Now I can see it. Yep.
So this is the coal shed door, right? This is in that part of the building that's separate.
Okay. That little lower part. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So this is what happens.
Yeah.
So this is one of the actions the sphere does to move away from the area.
It's making that bang, 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 like somebody's banging on
Yeah.
something real hard. Okay.
And that is happening
Repetitively.
that is happening down here. So we're up here, and it moves you down here. So this is what's happening is that, oh, let me get to that in a minute. But what it's doing is it's banging the door to say, right, you go down there because it's safe down there. And
Oh.
that's how it rolls. And then once it's actually done, all of the it just switches off, and that's it for 3 or 4 days.
Really? So nothing will happen for 3 or 4 days. It'll bang like that. It'll get you away
That's
from
right.
it.
That's right. So this is what's moving around the house. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
So this was what's moving around the house, and this was taken on the stairway, and this is you see like a black mass moving around.
Yeah. Looks like a black,
Mm.
like a misty shadow looking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it moves digitally, like with zero resistance or weights. It just moves around real quick in a digital way.
Hmm.
And in fact, if you have a look at this picture here, which is of it as well, if you look closely, you can see what looks to be a small sphere in the middle. Right.
Okay.
There.
Yeah. Yeah. When you marked it, I can see that. Oh,
And
wow.
then someone else got these images, and I checked these out. And what you see is a small silver sphere flying around the room.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the type 3s.
So why the hell why are they messing with people? I mean, like, why are they, you know what I mean? Like they're in the house and they're getting you away from it, but, you know, you can't live with it.
No, not really. I mean, it's like any network. It's like a own cellular network. It will have to goes where it has to go,
Mhm.
not really where it wants to go. So that's why, it puts itself in buildings sometimes. So here's an example from 1903 where people seeing these things coming through the wall, which is exactly what you saw on the LiDAR.
Right. Wow.
That's obviously you've seen that example already.
Right.
And then you have to say, well, why are these small drones in these buildings? Why are these spheres in the buildings, and why are they causing physical actions?
Yeah.
And people getting physically affected?
Right.
So, being an IC guy, you know that drones, doesn't matter how advanced they are, they need to send and receive signals.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Number 2, it needs a network,
Mhm.
and then number 3, it needs AI. So the question is there any repetitive actions or effects occurring, which is the door banging?
Right.
And that's just one of many that's going on in the building. And this pattern's been going on for the last 30 years.
Okay.
So it's not like something that comes and goes. It's a constant pattern. So what it appears to be is that these spheres are programmed with all the same pre-coded actions to say, right, do this to get people away. Because if you study poltergeist activity all around the world, you'll notice it all has the same behavior patterns. It all makes noises, bang doors, it throws stones, and it even causes fires. So it's all the same patterns, all the same AI, the same library of actions.
Opening doors and slamming doors and
that's right. Yeah.
like what about the incarnate voices and shit like that people hear? Like, you know, Get out. That's
Oh,
coming from
yeah.
the spirit, right? That's
Yeah, I mean, it's basically doing it basically like copies your voice and plays it back to you,
whoa.
um, and then it broadcasts it as like the electromagnetic wave, which then I think it gets it is it when you have a recorder going, it comes across as electronic crosstalk, so you hear it on the circuit, but not through the microphone.
Right.
And
Oh
then
yeah. That when you do that EVP, right, or the electronic voice
that's
phenomenon, right? So it comes through because it's an electromagnetic wave and not an actual audio.
that's right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not hitting the audio thing. Huh.
So the the question is, has there been any digital signals being detected from these buildings?
Right.
And the answer is yes. So I'll show you this one.
Wow. I mean that banging thing. You think that's trying to tell you to get the hell away from wherever it's banging, right? Or is it's banging to get you to come to look at the banging? You know, because I'd just run the other way.
No, no, come have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, come look. I'd be like, nah, it's cool. I'm not gonna look. Yeah.
So and actually other people have detected as well. And again, they're picked up as electronic crosstalk, picked up by on your camera, on your recorders, stuff like that. But it always sounds the same. And I think anyone who's got any sort of technical knowledge will realize that these are digital signals. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
This always goes on for about 2 minutes. But if you keep listening to it, you'll notice that
Almost sounds like a dial-up modem.
this is a digital signal.
Yeah, that's you can you hear that with you can't hear that with your ears though, right? It almost sounds like there's voice in there somewhere.
That's me like that. Because I'm talking, this is being picked up on the recorders as a electronic crosstalk. I can't hear it. I'm not aware of it.
Wow.
What are you trying to say?
That is very consistent.
Yeah. But the ending is brilliant. That's why I'm using it to play, because once you hear the ending, it's obvious. Okay. There we go. Stop. So it's clearly a digital signal.
Wow. So what would you pick that up on? What device was that?
You can pick it up on just ordinary audio tape if you're close enough to it, or it's as I say, it's picked up as electronic crosstalk.
Wow.
I think in this case, it was picked up on a microphone, which is electronic crosstalk.
Wow. So even digital, it doesn't matter. Digital tape, it doesn't matter. It'll pick it up.
As long as because it bypasses the actual microphone, it goes straight onto the circuit.
Jeez.
So let me show you something else.
Did you stick that through a spectrograph?
Yes, I did actually. We figured out that it appears to be an 18-bit code.
Oh.
Yeah, but obviously I can only do so much with my sort of my budget. But it appears to be an 18-bit code that is obviously from the sphere, which is burst relaying. So the sphere itself is acting like a transponder. So it shuts it turns on when it needs to and shuts down again. And then by the time when it's on, it's causing diversions around the house to say keep away from me while I'm transmitting or relaying.
Oh, so it's doing all at the same time. It's not going to somewhere and
Yeah,
relaying. It's relaying, and it's also getting people
yeah.
to get away from it.
So the question is like, how do I figure out what kind of signal it was producing, right?
Yeah.
So you have to find the network. So I'll show you this. This is pretty cool. Shoot scroll.
It's just like wild, man.
So you see this?
Yes.
So if you map all the very active locations around the UK, because if you think about it this way, if it's a drone which is sending and receiving signals, right? That means there's obviously data links going through the country.
Mm-hmm.
So all you do is you filter these locations by the level of activity that's occurring in them. So if something's happening like once in a blue moon, then it's just ignore that, filter that out. You want to look at the pathways that are always active, and if you do that to the map, these locations pop up. Now, what you'll find is if you look at it, if you look at the locations, they have similar point-to-point distances, which indicates a low-to-ground network is in operation, which is technically similar to our own network topology of a microwave-based point-to-point relay system.
Wow.
Microwave because it travels in straight lines.
It's like 50 miles or something in America, I think, for microwave. I could be wrong, but it's something like that.
And so this works around topology as well. So if you map it, you'll find that these places, that each one of these places is actually over a hill. But it works around it.
So it goes around the hill. That's interesting.
Right. Or over it, yeah.
Or over, yeah.
So what happens is that these what appears to happen is when something is coming into our atmosphere, a type 1 sphere or one of the clusters will detect something passively. It will then signal down to the type 3s in the buildings, who will then relay the signal along to whoever controls it, probably underground somewhere. And then it relays it up to the others clusters. And then together they can all close in like this.
Whoa.
And because it's going through this system and it's all microwave based, it means that it's undetectable.
Well, you should be able to detect microwaves though, right?
Oh, you can, but I mean to targets.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so because the emissions are not going near the target, so they're being redirected downwards.
Got it. So the target itself is not receiving any of that static. It's not getting any of the okay. Whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, if you look at this is the layout of the house.
Okay.
So from what I can tell from the electronic emissions in the building, the sphere itself is operating in the attic, which is up here on the first floor. It's in the attic here. And it seems to go back and forth around here. And it's always generally in the same area. Now, when I was doing the tests, we were in here. And that's when it banged the coal shed door, which is down here. Now, if you look at the layout, you can see that that's the most shielded, most distant part of the building.
It is, yeah.
So what's happening is it's doing this transmission, and the radiation is going through 1, 2, 3 walls, maybe 3.5 walls. So it's saying, everyone go down there, and that's where you'll be safe.
Wild. Why the hell is it why has it got to be there? He wasn't just go outside. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just trying to have breakfast, buddy. Like, why you got to blow radiation off in my face? Huh.
And that's what it is. And that's what it is. And so once the door bangs, like I just showed you,
the
transmissions are done, and then it all goes quiet again. But obviously, being human, we go, "Oh, that's evil spirits," or a dead person from 30 years ago, or something. It's not. It's this.
Wow.
So let me just show you something else.
I know this is dumb, but it just came to my mind, and I don't know. I think it's. Does anybody try to catch one of these? Like grab it, like Scooby-Doo, net it up. Let's.
Well, I might pick it up.
What's that?
I might be doing that.
Oh,
so
all right.
Here's a really good bit of data for you. So this is from Jim Segala. I can never pronounce his name.
He's getting per ranch guy, right? He's out there.
he put sensors in these buildings where people were saying they were having paranormal effects.
Okay.
What did he pick up? Exactly as I modeled, which is gamma radiation and microwaves.
Whoa. At the same exact frequency almost.
Exactly, yeah. So the gamma radiation's down here,
Yeah.
microwaves up here.
Whoa.
So the stuff that's happening in England here is replicating in America and all over the world. And it's the same process, same technology, same everything.
Shit. And we can figure it out now.
So here's a good one for you. Let me show you this. So in these buildings, the paranormal investigators, when they go in there, they all start complaining of feeling tired, headaches, dizziness, fainting. They feel weakness, even cognitive impairment.
Right.
It's all the same issues you get from low-dose gamma radiation effects.
Oh, yeah. Wild. Yeah, that does make sense. All right. Same. Yeah.
It's the same.
It's the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why people, I think, go a bit crazy in these buildings, because if you keep exposure to these emissions, it will have a neurological effect, and you will end up doing something really crazy.
Well, yeah, like microwaves. I mean, they're saying the Havana syndrome microwave could be a possible explanation for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So in fact, the neighbor of 30 East Drive next door, she gets constant headaches.
Wow.
Constant headaches because the microwaves are going through the wall. And it's like, I said to her, well, do you get headaches when you leave the place? Oh, no, they will disappear. That's what it is.
We got to put a for sale sign up, lady. At that point. Wow. It's like, but they don't have any activity inside the neighbor's house, right? It's just all centered around that one house.
So what's really going on is that these, as I said, the type 3s are these sort of small baseball-sized spheres.
Yeah.
They create a dynamic network that moves around the country. It moves around to its knees, and then it moves around to its knees, and then it uses the building itself to absorb the electronic signatures and mask the gamma radiation as well. They use AI and pre-coded actions to move people away when needed, and this has been misinterpreted as evil spirits and ghosts over history. It actually depends on the type of building they're using as well. If they use like a modern building, like a brick building, they generally are in the attic. But if you go into like a wooden building, like a single floor wooden building, we call them bungalows over here. I think in America you call them something else.
Yeah.
But they actually operate in the basement.
So they need to be surrounded by whatever the construction of the building is either helpful or hurtful to their transmissions, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let me show you some more stuff. Now I've got so much to show you.
I bet, man. That's just wild.
Yeah. So I'll show you this.
Just thinking about all the Skinwalker Ranch, they had the same type of experience. When they
it's the same thing. In fact, so the Sears deploy from Skinwalker. It's one of the deployment areas. Probably why I haven't been asked to go onto it.
What's that now? Because there's something under Skinwalker. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I think Skinwalker is quite easy to figure out, especially when you think of it in a sphere sense of things. But I don't know. They might want me on one day. They might not. I don't know. But we'll see. So let me show you this.
I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. I don't know if you can see that.
You can see the spheres come down.
Okay. I see the one.
There's something orbiting that planet.
There's another one coming as well. You look at that. I see it before it cuts. There it is up there.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Right at the top right. Yep.
Not sure what's going on here. That's weird. A 10-inch light bridge made by Mead. I'm going to be filming that planet just right there. Okay? Now check this out. I've never seen this before, and I'm actually surprised my phone's doing this. But check this out. Oh my god, it blew up. What the hell? Something just blew the hell up. It was orbiting, and now it blew up, and it's in outer space, and it's no longer there.
It's fucking wild. Yeah. Holy shit, man.
Now, what do you notice?
Triangle formation.
There you go. And
Damn.
inverted, this is horizontal configuration, which means the target is below or above. So what's happening is obviously they're blowing these things up and they're turning into like a molten metal as it's coming down. That is then landing in our oceans.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think we're doing about it?
Scooping it up.
Why we're finding all this stuff at the bottom of the oceans.
Wow. That makes sense. Does make
And in
sense.
fact, they're now going out and heavily mining this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. The nodules, is that kind of part of it too? One of those, I've heard of those nodules on the bottom of the ocean floor. I can't remember what they're called, but they have like a ridiculous amount of precious metals in them.
That's right. That's right. And this is where it's coming from.
So they're blowing them up over the oceans. They're not doing it over land, because if we did, you'd see shit all over the place, probably, right?
That's correct. Yeah. It appears to be that when it's up really high, they destroy them. When they're down low, they disable them, and then they extract them out with the tic tac that comes in and grabs it and extracts out. So the logic behind that is this: is if something can get through your network down to the ground level, you want to know how it works.
Right.
So you would disable it, and then you would take it for analysis to see how they got through the network, and then you have to update the network. So the thing is, when people say that this is like an ancient system that has been sort of left here years ago, is actually wrong. It's actually fully up to date and adaptive, and still being deployed and advanced.
Because it's learning from its mistakes. It's learning from whatever it's encountering, re-engineering its processes.
Yeah, well, the people who control it are.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you don't think this is a sentient process that is just somebody put it in here like we put, sentries. Well, I can't remember the name of the system that shoots down missiles over Gaza, that thing that just shoots a billion, that's automatic, and it sees the missile coming in. It's not that. You think that these are either being actively controlled or AI is powering them, but somebody's creating them and somebody's launching them and behind it all.
Yeah. I mean, it is predominantly AI controlled,
right?
But it is still managed by
somebody or something, right?
Yeah.
You think it's humans?
No.
nah. Humans wouldn't figure that shit out. Maybe
this stuff. I'll tell you what. There's a way of measuring this through history. Okay. Now, if the Type 3 spheres, as I describe, are responsible for poltergeist activity, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do is Google when was the first time poltergeist activity was recorded, and it goes back to the 1st century.
Got it. So
So it's been here. The same system has been here for that long.
Right. Right.
So now I've got some interesting videos to show you. Let me just have to put this on pause for a sec.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I'm just worried, wondering about catching them. It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them.
Well, no, they malfunction,
Oh yeah. I mean, there's got to be a collection agency for that too, right? They got to be able to come pick up their
who would make a company like that? But there's some news coming out about that anyway. So.
Who would make a company to pick that shit up? I don't know, maybe it's an aerospace company. Maybe it was somebody that would be good at that kind of logistics.
So let me grab this. So this is a video taken from inside that East Drive. Where I'm going to show how these things do poltergeist activity. So where's my?
So they'll show up on IR, but not thermal, right? I mean, is that?
Yeah, it's all IR, mostly IR. Our thermal cameras are expensive, but this one's done. But but it appears actually you can see them in IR better than you can in thermal.
Okay.
But this is a good example of something. I'll show you.
I wonder if one of those full spectrum cameras that actually see full spectrum light. There it is. Okay.
So
This is IR?
this is IR, yeah, passive
Okay.
IR. And what you'll see is this is a pram, nothing in it. And what it was doing is that the AI thinks that there's something in a baby in the pram.
Okay.
But what it's going to do is move away, push this thing away from the emissions, which is what's going to happen now. There it goes.
Whoa.
So this, if you look closely, you can see it come through the wall. See it?
On the left-hand side? Okay. Yeah, it kind of looks like a white. It's real small.
White blob. Yeah, that's how small they are.
And
And
it's
then all they're doing is doing that. See?
whoa. So it can physically interact with the environment.
Oh yeah, it can go through a wall and then knock over an object.
Wow.
So it's kind of like it really is bonkers. I mean, it's like we call it quantum tunneling, but
Right.
it looks like they've mastered it. It's amazing to watch. And I've seen this happen in front of me. I mean, I was here when all this happened. In fact, this happened 3 times in one night.
Same thing?
Yeah, same thing. Because it's the same process. Same. If you set up like this, the same thing will happen time and time again.
Right. But if you put a basketball there or like a garbage can, it wouldn't kick that,
You
right?
wouldn't do anything. No,
Because so it thinks there's a baby in there and
That's
it's getting
right.
it out of the way.
that's right.
And it's not throwing it. Is that going into a different room? Is that like a doorway to a different room there off to the
No,
right?
no, that goes down the stairs.
Oh, Jesus. That's not
Yeah.
good.
No, but it's not like it throws it hard down the stairs. It just nudges it just so it hits a couple of steps
Wow. And it does it every time.
every time.
It's repeatable. That's amazing.
I actually did contact this. There was this. I forgot who they were called, but there was like a debunking group or something who said,
Yeah.
"No, you like £100,000 if you could prove poltergeist activity or something."
Yeah.
So I said, "All right, I'll do it." So
Yeah.
I contacted them, and they said, "Oh, it's only applicable if you got magic powers to do it."
What?
Yeah, I said, "Well, I haven't got magic powers, but I know how to do it."
Wow.
Yeah,
They didn't want to pay up.
they didn't want to pay up. No,
Well, so if you sat there, if another, an adult or whatever, would the same thing happen?
yeah, you get pushed. Yeah,
Jesus.
every time.
Amazing.
So I'll show you something else.
Well, it is kind of creepy though.
Well, it is when you don't know what it is creepy as it is, because I mean this stuff happens all night long.
Yeah.
But if you know what it is, it's not too bad. But straight after this event, because you're getting hit by the emissions, you feel messed up. You
Yeah,
feel
your
like
brain.
you have sunburn. Yeah, you
Yeah.
feel like you have sunburn on the inside. You feel a bit, and it's
Oh.
because the emissions are hitting you, and it's trying to tell you to go away. And you're
Wow.
ignoring it, and you got to remember, like, we've only got brave for the last 50, 60 years. Before this, people would run a mile, witchcraft and all that stuff. They
Burn
would,
that house to the
Yeah.
ground. Yeah, they would have hordy priests out there. That whole thing would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So we've only got brave recently, and that's why we're now getting hit by emissions and stuff because we are sticking around.
So I mean, is there a way? I know it's stupid. I just had an idea, but like, you put yourself in some type of a suit to block emissions. Some type of.
There's theories about this.
Kind of like
That's something I'm working on as well.
Like
There's potentially there are ways to shield you from it. And if you're stuck in one of these buildings, you could reduce it at least, because all it's doing is giving you scarecrow like warnings because you're in range. If you're not in range, it doesn't care.
But then it'll hurt you, I would suppose. I mean, if you went up there and you're like, I'm not moving, you're going to stand there and that pushing you and you're like, yeah, forget it. You'd eventually have some type of medical issue because you're getting exposed to radiation and microwave
Yes.
radiation, right? And you would get sick. You would get hurt.
Yeah. In fact, from what I hear, people get Parkinson's disease.
Oh, well, that's not good. So you get holes in your brain or something going on with neurologically, right?
Yeah. But
Not
now
good.
I've got some other good stuff to show you. So because the Type 3 spheres are basically AI machines,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I came up with a binary that you play through it to get it to interact.
Well,
So
how the hell did you come up with that?
oh yeah, so I'll show you that in a sec. Hold on.
What if you know how that it mimics you and plays back your voice to it? I mean, you just play back its own thing to it.
No, well, no.
Hmm. I was
Right.
gonna say, I do IT security. It'd be interesting to get a hold of that code that it's whatever it's transmitting. If it's 18-bit, see if we can break it and figure out what that transmission is.
You can. I mean, the thing is it's all down to money and research. It's all down to how much research budget you have.
Yep.
You could go to work on this big time and figure this stuff out.
I mean, if you got the 18-bit and you had the code, we now have AI to use ourselves, right? I mean, we can set that wild onto to LLM and just see if it can break it and transcode it. It's worth a shot.
Yeah, it's worth a go. Here we go.
Probably saying that damn baby carriage is at the top of the steps again. That's the code. It's just gonna be like, shit, move it.
Yeah. Let me just find this. Where's it gone?
You know what I'm thinking too? That people always talk about dogs and cats. Dogs, experiencing this stuff before humans do. Cat will look at something that's not there and freak you out. The dogs will go nuts. I mean, they're probably more susceptible. They have more receptors than we do as humans to pick up that radiation.
Yeah. You're right. Where is this gone?
That would be one of the things why they flip out before we do. They're a little bit more sensitive to that whole thing. Interesting. I'll put a dog up there.
Dogs don't like it. They get real panicky.
Do they? Yeah, they just flip out and run away. Get out of there.
Here we are. Finally.
Yeah, that's
damn files everywhere.
No, it's all right, man. You got 4,000 files. I get it. It's cool.
Oh, let me just turn it down.
So you've been doing it since I mean, the book came out in 2015, but how long were you doing it before you wrote the book?
Well, I've been studying it all my life, really.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get to work on it until 2014.
14, okay.
2015.
Wow, man. It's like good 10 years, man.
Yeah. Let me show you this. Shit.
Yeah.
So this is 30 East Drive again, and I came up with this code and just to see what happened, really. So as I said before, the type 3s, they appear to make crop circles, and in one of the crop circles there was a code which a British mathematician figured out. So I just copied the code and stuck in my own commands and then put it into an app, and then I played it in 30 East Drive to see what happened, and this is it.
That high pitch noise is your code?
Yeah, it's a binary code. Yeah. So right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 phones and iPads playing it, and everything's in flight mode. So there's nothing broadcasting or transmitting. And then you have the sensors at the bottom. So you have EMF, you've got radiation, you've got microwave as well, and just what happens.
And what's that light bulb that's on the top up there then?
Oh, that's one of my units I kind of was working on. That's one of the strobes that I came up with.
Okay, it's a strobe light, and it's strobing the frequency that it's playing, the audio frequency.
Watch. Oh, there we go.
That's radiation?
Yep,
So is that microwave energy picking up?
Yeah, microwave and magnetic field.
Wow.
So that's one example.
So it's like it didn't like that, or it's trying to answer?
It's just engaging with it because it's something out of place. So it goes have a look at it. So what it's picking up when these things come close to it is just picking up the emissions from the objects.
Ah, okay. So that the objects are going, hey, what was that noise? What's that? What's going on? Come check it out. Okay.
So here's another one.
So this is just binary. You're just blasting, right? And it's audio.
Yeah. You see this?
Yeah.
So this is again, you've got the same thing. You've got 4 phones playing it. And in the middle, we have the sensors, the EMF sensors.
Okay.
So yeah, watch what happens.
And how long are you doing? How long are you playing it for? Like 30 seconds or something?
Yeah, a few seconds.
Okay.
And now the lights start flashing. And then they start engaging.
That can't be vibration, it'd be going all the time. Look at that.
Hiya.
And again.
Oh, thank you.
So the music is something you put in like as an after thing, right? That's a
Yeah.
okay.
You do that again.
So the lights are from motion, like if something's turning on in the middle, that.
So these lights here in the middle, they're actually just cat balls. But basically, when you put motion against them, they'll flicker.
Okay.
In this case, they're locked in place, so then they can't move.
Okay, gotcha. But if you go up to hit it, like if you go up and smack it, it would do. Okay.
That's right, but there's no one doing that.
Okay. Wow.
And also, then you got the magnetic field detectors at the back, which are also triggering as well.
Right.
So, another example.
Bunch of stuff going on. So you can play this stuff, and it calls them in.
That's right. Yeah.
And you get that creepy feeling because it's not transmitting or wants to. I mean, I guess whatever it's doing, it's just doing. But you still get the same creepy, get out of here type of vibe when you're doing that?
Actually, not at that point. No.
Okay.
No. It seems quite pleasant actually.
So it's not like, hey, get out of here, I'm going to try to transmit. It's more like just it's more just like, okay, like a normal vibe. Okay.
Yeah, but this is another one. So this is one of the strobes I came up with. So I kind of figured that when you hear footsteps around these buildings, but you can't see anything, well, what if they're using some sort of optical stealth? So I kind of figured a way to try and burn through that, so you can see them. So
okay. So you're thinking that it's a physical. There's something physically there, but we visually can't see it.
That's right. Yeah, that as well. And how it works is a strobe it's a programmed strobe. So it's a custom built programmable strobe, and what it does is it's always in a state of flux. So in order to do like optical stealth, you have to have a very consistent pattern coming in and going out, so you can adapt to it. What this does, it creates randomness, so it can't adapt fast enough. Therefore, you get a reflection.
Okay. So got it. So you're just making this completely random strobe, and whatever the cloaking mechanism just can't keep up.
That's right.
Okay.
So this is something I did. It's one of my crazy experiments.
So is this all in 30 the same building?
No. This is done next door to where I live.
Okay.
Yeah,
and so you like 3D printed that and everything.
Yeah. So the story behind this, by the way, is I did this test in actually a graveyard next to the house, and after I'd done this, I started getting weird things happening around the house.
Ooh.
I'll be laying there at night because the house had like wooden floors.
Mm-hmm.
At night, I hear people walking around like that.
Oh boy!
And I thought it was like the kid running around, and it wasn't. There was no one there, and I'm like, I don't really appreciate this. I actually stopped doing it. So this is I done it.
So this is the last time you did it? Was this video of it here?
In fact, another guy, he bought one of these and he switched it on in his flat, and he said he saw 2 men looking at him.
Holy shit.
He actually ran out of his house and booked himself into a mental home.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
is he okay? Is he all right?
I think he's all right now, but it is pretty much.
Hello, everyone.
This is
So this is like graveyard near your house.
Next to it,
In
yeah.
the middle
Yeah.
of the country.
And this is like in the middle of the country, no one there. No one there.
Right. Hell, you don't even have any street lights or anything.
No.
We're going to turn it on, see what happens.
So you got your strobe in the middle, and you got a bunch of sensors probably around it, right?
Yes, that's
Okay. What's atomic light?
it's light caused by electrical interaction. Yes.
There you go. Look at that.
So you're not doing anything. The unit's already got pre-programmed, but you're not touching it. You just turned it on and backed up, right? Okay. Is it you're like filming on an iPhone or something? Yeah. Okay. So you're physically, I mean, you're filming it, but you're not seeing anything with your eyes, right? I mean, you're not looking at it. I mean, you're not going freaking out or anything because you can't really see that with your own eyes, I'm guessing. It does look like there's something there to the right of it or behind it, right?
That's it.
It's going to start moving away.
And how big is that thing? Is it like as big as this it's this big, right? It's like as big as this cup. It's probably like an inch.
But if you look there, now it's
Not an
gone.
inch, 12 inch. Okay, yeah, the red thing went off, right?
Yeah, watch.
There you
Can't
go.
see it.
Is this a replay?
Yeah.
20 feet,
Okay.
25 feet away from this.
You see the figure standing there behind it?
Yeah.
They're watching.
Now watch what happens when I get close to it. It's going to start moving away.
Right.
There you go.
Yep. And then the red thing turned off. So you were walking up towards the light.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll see this is like a enhanced version in a minute.
Yeah, there's something there, right? But it's got to be like 2 foot tall or something, right?
Yeah, it's small.
And what was the detector that's red? What is that thing doing? It's detecting what?
Static sensor.
Static sensor. Okay. So it's static electricity or.
Yeah, it's gone now. See?
Yeah. Is that light blue? Like what? In
Like that blue, yeah.
yeah. Shit, man.
But
But you didn't see that when you were filming it, though. I was
No,
you had to replay
no.
it, so you didn't get creeped out or anything. It wasn't like you didn't get a weird,
No.
like, nothing like that.
it's all the stuff you don't see what freaks you out.
Yeah, right. So after that, then stuff
the
started
last
walking
thing-
around your house. That's where you started hearing footsteps in your house.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. That was a bit annoying.
And then it just stopped after a while.
Yeah, after a while it stopped. But then I stopped poking the bear as well. So, this is what happens. But the next bit of footage is really good. So this was taken in 2015. That's actually in my book. And I've been sitting on it for a few years because I didn't know what to do with it really. But now I'm going to put it into the public domain to see what you think. But so I took that strobe with this because I've had this strobe for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I went to basically a woodland in the middle of nowhere up in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And the same test again with static sensors and strobe. And we didn't see this happen because it happened so fast that you just didn't see it. It literally happens within a couple of frames. So I'm going to show you this and see what you think. So first,
you can see the static. I mean, you can see the static sensor light up though. Visually, you can look at it and go, "Hey, that's lighting up," right?
Well, it did, but it didn't happen in. Oh, what's happened there? Hang on, just yes.
Yeah.
So
elongated skull.
Yeah, this is the skull that's found in Peru with the elongated heads.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to pay close attention to the eye socket and this line here. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Now I want you to watch this.
Oh, you can see it right in the middle.
See the eye socket?
Yep. I can see it going right up the top, right? Wild. Was that like mist? Was that like fog or?
See the light, how the light acts?
Yeah.
And this stuff, this is all happening like so fast that how I kind of interpret it is these guys, when I set this thing off in remote areas, these guys come and have a look to see what's going on.
So are you playing the tones too? Are you playing the?
Not at that point. No, that they were made later.
Okay, so that's just the light. That's not the noise.
And so what it appears to be is these guys use a localized time dilation. So what that means is they're walking around normally, and we're in freeze frame. We are literally in slow motion.
For them, but their speed is normal. We're just like kind of slow motion freeze frame.
Yeah, because they operate in their own separate time dilation. I suppose you could call it like a shadow biosphere.
Whoa. So they can interact with us. They can see us. They can interact with us, but we can't them.
We can't. It's all happening between the frame rate of our eyes.
So because our eyes can't capture the frame rate, it's happening so fast.
And I'm not sure if I think they wear something to create like a bubble around them to do this, but yeah, I mean this is why people go like hunters and stuff go missing without firing a shot because they can't even see it coming. These guys can walk between bullets. It's that
they can walk between walls and shit too, probably, right?
Yeah. I got another video which is a bit more boosted.
This is so what's creating the smoke there, the fog? Was that just like the normal air there?
This is a bit more slow motion and it's been upscaled a bit. There he is.
I mean, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And this is actually a short version of a much longer video where you see a lot more turning up.
Those people just so those things are just keep showing up and poking their head in there and checking it out. Do you guys have like a campfire going on or something? What's the smoke?
No, it's just mist, I think.
Whoa.
And you can see its head bend down. You see the back of its head, elongated skull, and then you see its face.
Yeah, that's kind of scary looking.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a nightmare fuel right there, buddy. Wow. You know, it's interesting that mist rolls in right out at the same time, too, because there's been a lot of reports about this mist that happens around paranormal stuff that just shows up. So like, you can't see this visually. I mean, you didn't see this at all, right?
No,
I mean, you didn't. No. And you didn't get the creepy feeling or anything. None of that.
No, it's so fast that it's actually a little bit intimidating because you realize that you just don't have a chance in hell if it all goes wrong.
You never see it coming.
You don't. So that's really it. I mean,
wow. So do you think that the Peruvian elongated skull people are still a species that exists in a shadow biome surrounding us at all times, and that we can't see because our frame rate of our eyes can't pick it up.
Appears to be. Hmm.
Do you think these are related to the orbs, the spheres, type 1, 2, and 3? You think they're all part of it?
I think they built it.
Wow.
I mean, from the size of the eyes, they look to be subterranean, so they probably live underground.
Right. But it has to be, that thing's massive too. I mean, if that thing was, your device is like 12 inches or something, right? And that thing is 8 foot, 9 foot tall, maybe. I mean, bigger. I mean,
yeah. So the thing is, I know where a couple of these locations are in the UK. I mean, I know everyone knows about Skinwalker, but there's actually a couple of Skinwalkers in the UK as well.
wow.
So hopefully I'm going to go and do a couple of documentaries down there.
Just do same. You can use the strobes, use the tones, and try to film and get all that. Wow.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about it, and maybe I jumped ahead, but man, I mean, if you could figure it out and you know where it's at, how can you catch one?
Well, what you mean, the spheres, or you mean one of these guys?
Either, both. Yeah, like I don't know.
Well, I think you've got more chance of picking them up that have malfunctioned.
Okay, so when they blow up or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. I think you've got more chance of that than actually grabbing a live one. But as I said, there's more news coming out about that in a few months, hopefully.
Right. So that was part of one of the things you can't talk about, right?
That's right.
Now the bet sphere is one of the ones that's been in historically in the 70s. It was the one that the guy found in Florida, and you'd put it on the ground, it would roll around and do a bunch of stuff, and and I don't remember the end of the story in that one. I don't know how that one ended up. I know a bunch of people try to say it was a hoax, and people just said they didn't know, and I don't know if that thing's still around or what, but that could potentially be a type 3, type 2.
That would have been from the size of it. I would assume that would be a type, probably a type 3.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. Some are about this big. Some are much smaller. It's I mean, the types I kind of specify are general types.
Okay.
Just by flight behavior and their flight logic and stuff, but
they could be any size. They could be this big.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's a combination of like old tech with new tech.
Okay, got
but
it.
The older stuff might be a bit bigger, and the new stuff might be smaller.
Right. There's like cars, man. Cars
exactly,
used to be huge. Used to be big, right? So you think that, I mean, from the looks of it, it's blowing stuff up out of orbit. It's protecting Earth, right? In a way. The shit's everywhere. I mean, obviously, Arrow put that video out of that orb that they didn't know what it was flying. We've got videos of it all over there. You got tons of videos. People see it all over the place. It doesn't seem to be harming humans unless you are indirectly ignoring its transmissions to get away, right? Like the hey, get off, get away. But then if you don't, you get the headaches, you get all the symptoms from radiation or microwave, injuries, which is like kind of the Havana thing in a way, maybe. But you can bait it a little bit, maybe, right? And you can interact with it via the tones, the frequencies. It's digital. It's sending signals that we've been able to pick up. You've picked them up in the static of audio recordings. And it's 18-bit, right? Like you said, because you've decoded
it. Appears to be.
Okay. Some spectral analyzation there. You can kind of figure out what it's trying to do. So it's a technology that surrounds us. It's interesting that the humanoid, the beings are completely cloaked, but these orbs at times are just visual. They're just there. Like we see them. We see at other times they're coming through walls and they're kind of cloaked, and we can see them in infrared a lot better. But a lot of the videos you show me are dudes with iPhones just sticking, like, hey, what is that shit? They're going outside and they're seeing it, right? And we're picking it up.
Well, I mean, if you're I mean, it might be a case of when they're cloaked, they can't transmit or can't receive signals or can't
do what they need to do.
As much signals, like they're probably more capable when they're visible than not. That's probably the most likely. Yeah.
So you got this information to Gillibrand a year before the first UAP hearings.
Yeah.
Through somebody. Have you had any other interactions with the US or UK or Five Eyes nations about any of this stuff?
No. I mean, I seem to be just ignored.
Well, maybe that's good. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess. I mean, the thing is it's kind of strange because, I mean, I spoke to Travel Channel producers and producers of other stations as well.
Yeah.
And they all say, "Oh, yeah, you're right," you know, but they don't want to change anything. They don't want to change their format. They don't want to. They already have a money-making format
Okay.
that, like the mystery box kind of thing. So they make a lot of money out of that, and they're not interested in changing it. I mean, it makes me wonder, like maybe if I can figure stuff out with pretty much zero budget, I'm amazed that people with a budget can't.
Right. Or can they? And they're just keeping it quiet, right? That could be the thing. Can they figure it out? Have they figured it out and they don't want anybody to know about it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it just seems to be funny. So the only real option I have is to make my own kind of documentaries and put them out on X, and see where they go.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about doing now.
Right. But I mean, going back, and I know you can't talk about signing the NDA that you talked about, or, potentially or whatever, but there was definitely some interest in some people, some parties or companies or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Mm.
And,
Oh, yeah.
Even if you were working with them and you did sign that, you probably couldn't say anything about it at that point. So somebody's taking it serious enough to at least engage with you on that front, right?
Well, I mean, from what I hear, I think a lot of people take me very seriously. It's just that it's not in the public eye.
Right, and that's probably on purpose, though, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They don't want you talking, right? I mean, you and I mean, we've talked, offline, obviously, for 2 years back and forth, going, "Hey, do you want to do an interview?" "No, I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't." So what uncorked you now to be able to talk to me? After 2 years, was there a timestamp on that thing that you signed? Was it something that?
Not so much that. It's more that it's things have kind of settled down now. So it's certain things are underway, and now I'm free to do what I want to do. That what it appears to be.
Okay.
So no one's stopping me now. So
I was going to say that. I mean, so like everything that we put out, I mean, it's fair game, right? Nobody's going to get pissed that we talk about all these things. Okay.
Because the end of the day is that because I'm not government or anyone from who's worked for anyone sort of intelligence or something like that. The truth is, no one cares. You could have like the CIA guy. Was it CIA? David Grush.
Yeah.
People care what he says because of his position.
Right.
But so it doesn't matter what I say. People know.
You're just a dude.
That's it. And actually, as I said, that's probably the safest way forward, because if government says anything about this stuff, people would freak out to a degree. So it's better for one person, civilian, who's had no access to anything, to figure something out, and then spread that through social media somehow, than it is to anything from government.
Right. So I mean, you don't have any problem with people trying to replicate what you're doing, obviously, right? I mean,
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, they can do it, right? I mean, obviously, you could do that in a way to bait these things. I mean, the app. I don't know if you still have the app with tones or whatever those tones are.
You can buy the strobe and you can buy the apps. Just go out and use them. And people have done it, and some people have got real crazy experiences. Some people refuse to buy one and refuse to use it.
Really?
Yeah,
because they're scared.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is what it is.
So it's like the hitchhiker effect. I just thought about this when you're talking about, you did this next to your house and the shit came home with you. I mean, that's what they talk about Skinwalker Ranch. You have the experience and the stuff comes home, like even, across the world, across the country. I mean, there's a lot of correlations here with a lot of this other stuff that Skinwalker. I mean, aside from the cattle mutilations, I don't know. I don't know if that's happening for you, but it seems like there seems to be a lot of correlations here with visual things.
Yeah, I think it's the same show all over the world, and I think it's the same. It's the same functions, the same processes, the same effects. It's the same thing all over the world. It's just depending if people can see it or not. I mean, there's a a top professor recently said, can you see what's happening in front of your eyes? It's like an IQ test.
Hmm.
And some people can look at one thing and see something completely different what other people see.
Right.
And that's really what the problem is.
Yeah.
You get that in computers as well. You get some users saying, "Oh, it's this problem," and then you look at it and it's something completely different.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that kind of perception, or that's our limitation.
Right. Right. So I mean, if this this is real, it's happening all over, and it's repeatable, it's baitable. We can bring it in, we can make it happen. Anybody can do it anywhere. We know it's there. But then the question is, what we can do about it?
Exactly. Yeah. Then what?
Can't do anything about it, really.
No, because I kind of have a thought process like this: is what if the primates wanted disclosure on humans? The primates think they're the king of the jungle, super powerful creatures. How would that go down? And it probably won't go down very well. The truth is that it doesn't matter how much the primate domain would want access to the human domain. It will never happen. It will never happen. It's just because they can't function within our society, really, other than being in a zoo or, some lab creature. And I think it's the same kind of thinking is with these guys. Is they live here just like we do, probably in a different area, somewhere remote, and they just like, you know what, you guys get on with it. We'll just get on with this, and we'll just keep you out of trouble. And that's basically it. I mean, you've got to remember, is that human beings are highly reactive creatures, and especially when you have nuclear weapons as well. Right. So if you have craft coming in from elsewhere, you don't know what they are, we're going to react kind of in a negative way. Right. So what they're doing is stopping us from going nuts, really, and doing stupid things.
Wow. And then
I think that's really what it is, because if we start using nuclear weapons on the planet, it'll affect them as well.
Right. We're blowing up their home and ours at the same time. The thing is they're taking these things out that are coming out of orbit. I mean, hypothetically, they're coming in here. How do we know that those aren't, that whatever they're taking out is hostile or not hostile? Maybe whoever's coming in are trying to help us out.
Maybe. We don't know. I don't know.
Right. You know what I mean? So we have this global defense network that we didn't ask for, that we didn't participate in. It's happening around us. We can't really do shit about it. It's gentle with us in a way that it's not killing us overtly. It's telling us to get out of the way when things are coming in, get out. It's being nice. But if you stick around, you're screwed. And it's doing things without any of our input whatsoever. It's just taking shit out of the sky, apparently. And that could be somebody coming to free us from whatever these things are doing. Maybe these things are suppressing consciousness. Maybe they're keeping us from seeing them. Maybe they're doing things like that through technology. Who knows, right? I mean,
who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
It's speculative, all of it, obviously, but these things exist. These balls drop out of the sky.
Yeah.
People have them. People may or may not be doing tests on them. May or may not have done tests on them. They showed up. The Bet Spheres one. We can't talk about the one that you may or may not have known about or know about or whatever, right? There's people that are looking into it, have done tests, whatever. At some point, we're going to, we're good at figuring shit out and then re-engineering it, right? So at some point, we're going to figure out how to get into it, and then how to do something, right, for good or bad.
Potentially. Potentially. I mean, I think the reason why there's so much secrecy in the UFO subjects, is because technology is the most heavily sought after resource on the planet.
Okay.
So a new kind of microprocessor or a new kind of material, a new kind of wiring system, something like that. These things are worth trillions.
Right.
So, and the person who has the better technology has the better weapons.
Right. Of course. Right. We weaponize the shit out of everything, no matter what. Right. Yeah. Weapon first.
So if, for instance, say the defense industry does have these objects, they're spending trillions trying to reverse engineer them.
Right. to use them
And
for weapons.
they ain't going to give that. They ain't going to give that up for no one because they've put so much money and effort into it. And you got to remember is that these objects are probably very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like doorstops or anything. They're probably quite dangerous.
Well, if they're emitting the radiation, for God's sakes, right? You know, right now, you know that it's going to affect you. Yeah.
Even the larger crafts.
Right.
I mean, you don't know what the power source is. You don't know how if it's got some sort of security system on it. You don't know anything. So you literally are going in like completely naive to what you're dealing with.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you can't blame the defense industry for saying you're not having our toys.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, we've spent trillions trying to work this stuff out and you're not having it, you know, and it doesn't matter what the politicians say.
Right.
It is what it is. And at the end of the day, if we've got them, then probably China has them or Russia has them as well. And there's probably a race going on to see who can get the patents first.
Right. Right. Of course.
So, you know.
Or that race has already been won by somebody, right? I mean, that's potential too. The race has already potentially been won.
Potentially, I mean,
one or more.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, just follow the money, and that basically tells you the story. I mean, there's things on this planet that I think probably weren't built by humans, and like the pyramids, I don't think they were built by humans.
Right.
Their engineering is amazing. Certainly outside the scope of what we can do even now.
Right.
So, you know, if you want evidence of alien life or whatever, just look at the pyramids, in my opinion. But again, you see, unless the end of the day, if doesn't matter what a civilian says because no one believes them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tomorrow, you know, the buses will keep running, the planes will keep flying.
Right. Right.
You know, that's really. That is the safest option, really, for disclosure to happen through a civilian than a government.
Just like Bob Lazar. I mean, you know, what 40 years ago or whatever, 30 years ago, he shook the whole world up, right? And people still talk about him. So,
yeah,
you know, he was just a guy. I mean, he happened to work at a place, supposedly, right? I mean, but still, I mean, he wasn't a full bird colonel, right? Who came out and started telling everybody, like, you know, the government has this or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, all I want to do is go out and test stuff and look at stuff and put science behind it,
right?
And then give you my best option. I'm not sure if I'm 100% right, but you know, I kind of do reverse engineering for a living. So it's like you know, I'm a database specialist and soon to be architect, and I do reverse engineering on databases every day, you know. So what I've done was apply the same thing to the paranormal or Poltergeist originally, and then I start finding these spheres, and then I find these emitting signals, and then it's like, well, no wonder people are passing out because they're emitting all this radiation. You know, and once you figure this out, everything else just clicks into place, and it's obvious. It's obvious, and it's really for everyone else to catch up.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. Like you said, you get citizens, you get normal people involved, and you get them to replicate the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Get them to do it. Get them to go out there and turn these things on. I don't know, but you're inviting shit into your house, whatever it is. You know, you're going to bring it home with you a little bit, you know, which is kind of spooky.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess having no defense against them is probably scary enough, right? You know, we talked about maybe cloaking yourself or cloaking, you know, how to keep the interference away from you. There's got to be a way to keep them off of you somehow.
Maybe.
I don't know what that is, you know. I wonder, you know, I've had experiences where I've gone out with a group of people, meditate, you know, asking something to come down and show, and, you know, and there's videos on my you know, my YouTube and of, you know, orange orbs dropping down, hanging out, checking out. You know, my friend Jay, you know, Project Unity, same thing for him, right? You know, he had the same type of experience. And there's people all over that have that experience. I wonder if these orbs are part of that global defense network. And I wonder if
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the same. Yeah.
You think that we can somehow communicate with them telepathically or something?
Maybe something like that. Yeah. There must be a mechanism there somewhere.
Right. to interface with humans, right? Not to via technology, but for our biological technology, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, as I say, all it needs is a bit more money, a bit more research, and that's it. But whenever I watch these TV shows and stuff, they're always doing stuff that it's like you're doing everything that you shouldn't be doing, not the things you should be doing.
Right.
So it's like, that's what it kind of feels. So whenever you watch these things, you're always like, well, what aren't they doing? That's why aren't you doing that? That just doesn't make sense, And I get the feeling that the modern TV media as a whole is kind of like the rule of thumb is speculate all you want, but you're not allowed to prove anything.
Well, yeah. Well, like you said, if you prove it, I mean, you just cut off the money train, right? Like we talked about, like you just, we figured it out. You can't have episode 10 now because, we're not going to get to that. Right.
Yeah. But that's where we are. So, I think for myself, I mean, hopefully I have a few more interviews lined up now. I'm going to become a little bit more public than I have been. And, hopefully going to start doing documentaries as well. So yeah, there's plenty more to come.
Good. And then maybe one day you can tell me about that NDA you signed.
Oh, maybe.
About why and what and with who and whenever expires, and does it ever expire? Why can't you talk about it anymore? What happened? One of the things that I asked a bunch of people, I was like, hey, you got any questions? And one of the questions I have for my Patreon, I'm joking, I don't have a Patreon. Was when your book, how did you meet Steve Colburn, and how did your team and I mean, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Look at that. Probably be it's like to be my age, you got to put your bifocals on. All right. How'd you meet Steve Colburn, and what was his skill set brought to you? And wasn't he the same guy that was in Patient 15, Jeremy Corbell's movie? Okay, so I know that. I know Steve Colburn was part of Jeremy Corbell's movie and Patient 15. He was Patient 15. And how did you hook up with him? And what was his skill set that helped you out with your book?
He was the only one who had done a material analysis on a sphere.
Oh, so he had a sphere. He had a sphere at some point.
Yeah. He tested. I forget who owns it. I think it's a guy in Mexico, and he did a material science analysis on it. And at the time when I was writing the book, he was the only one who had. So I just, we started talking and stuff, and I put his analysis in my book. That's it.
Wow, that's wild. So like somebody in Mexico got one of these and did a material analysis on it, and you found him by Googling or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And then
it was actually by fluke because I wanted to speak to him anyway about some other stuff, and I said to him, I'm writing a book about spheres and stuff. He goes, oh yeah, I've got one. I've tested one of those. I was like, all right.
Wow.
So it was jackpot, and that's why I included it.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, I didn't know that anybody had actually done a material analysis on a down sphere, right? I don't know if they did that with the Bet sphere either. I don't know. Do you know if they did that? The one, the famous Bet sphere.
They did some tests on it. They didn't cut it up or anything.
No. Okay.
They did some tests on it, and they found that there was lots of anomalies with it.
Okay. But they didn't chip a piece of metal off and stick it under an electron microscope.
Not I'm aware of. No.
Okay. But what was the one that Colburn? What was? Can you give me the breakdown? And was that completely wild, or was that normal?
That was bigger. So that appeared to be the type 1. So it was quite a large one.
Okay.
Size of a beach ball kind of size,
Right.
And that one actually was damaged. So that one hit the ground so hard it exploded.
Oh shit.
And actually killed a cow, in the fields and stuff. But it didn't destroy the whole thing. It just blew out the insides. So the whole insides just turned to explosion. But what was left was an outer shell, and that's what was tested.
Wow. And was that like material not found on Earth, things like that of that nature?
Yeah, yeah. It's basically well, according to him, it was a manufacturing technique that we can't replicate.
Wow.
So it's outside of our material science to replicate these things.
But probably terrestrial materials, but we can't replicate kind of. So it was like, aluminum
Yeah.
and all these things,
Yeah.
but we can't, wow.
Yeah. I mean, said many times that these spheres, I think they're a lot like finding a microchip in 1910. You might test one, but it might not have anything, amazing in it. But the engineering is out of place. And I think, I think that's what it is. I mean, if you're going to build like a global defense network, you wouldn't use rare earth minerals. You would have to use common materials.
Right. Because you have to build it from what you have here, what's available to you, right?
Yeah, just
like
to
we do
build
now.
Mass, pump them out. So
Yeah.
you can't have a material source limitation.
Right.
Or could you be dependent on mining stuff externally? It would all have to be here. So I think if there is any sort of testing on these things, that's what they would find.
Wow. So it's like it's here. It's just made with in a way that we can't replicate.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why that it kind of makes sense for a lot of the the parts. The material analysis. I know that Gary Nolan's done a lot. Jacques Vallée's parts.
Oh yeah.
That they're all well. These are all the elements that we have. I mean, these are all the all this shit here, but it's 1,000 times more pure, right? The aluminum is 1,000 times more pure, or the whatever, right? The magnesium, or we don't understand why you would put, these two metals together, right? Because it doesn't make any sense to us. Why would you do that? Or layer them so thin and things like that, right? So we don't have any understanding. But all this stuff, it's not like some element, some kind of metal that doesn't exist in our solar system, right? It's all the same kind of bits and bobs. It's just crammed together differently, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, in many ways, though, the analysis process is a very slow one, because imagine like imagine like being a caveman and finding a Ferrari or a BMW, in a
idea what you're gonna
and
do.
then you scrape off a little bit of paint and you're like, okay, we'll test this. Oh, there's nothing in there. But and that's how it is. So you're testing all these minute little bits.
Yeah,
So
right. Takes forever.
Takes forever, yeah.
Wow. Well, shit, man. I wish you could tell me more.
No, I mean, on my Twitter, I have lots and lots of pictures now of the spheres doing, their formations and intercepts, chasing down UFOs. I just don't know. Either people can understand it and get with it, or they just don't want to understand it.
Right.
I don't. Yeah. I just can't understand why. I can't see a problem trying to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, they just, like you said, just get it out there, being a normal citizen, and see what happens. Yeah. So,
and when you think about it,
yeah,
this network is, when you really think about it, it explains the Fermi paradox. As in, where are all the aliens? Well, they're kept out because the system keeps them out.
Yeah, you're right.
It explains poltergeist activity, which is, been a big mystery forever.
Right.
It also, I think, explains spontaneous human combustion.
Whoa.
Because I think what happens is that if you're too close to these things when they're relaying, depending on the distance between the type 3 and type 2s, will depend on will increase the output, the signal strength, the power outage.
So you're blocking the power between the two, and it just burns through you.
Yeah, I think so. If you just happen to be in the way, then you're gonna get fried.
Wouldn't like cows and all kinds of shit would be blowing up like that? I mean, it'd be like anything.
Well,
right?
I mean, I think it's. I mean, there's only actually been a couple of hundred cases of it in the world.
Right.
So it's almost like there was some sort of upgrade that went out and then it was retracted. That's what it kind of sounds like,
Oh, hey, we messed that one up. We keep burning people. We gotta bring that back and get that beta test didn't work out well.
But that's how logically that would make sense.
Right. Well, I mean, I know we're reaching here, but how would abductions come into any of this? Is that part of the same? Probably not. I mean,
No,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I mean, this is just me speculating.
Yeah, speculation. I mean, obviously,
I
a
mean,
lot of it's speculation, right?
like in order to do abductions, you would have to have access through the firewall,
Yeah,
through the network, which
right.
means it's highly likely that it's the ultra terrestrials doing it.
Or unless they're not, they're like, well, if these things are dropping out of the sky and they're failing, maybe they can be beat too, right? Maybe they
Yeah,
are
maybe
fallible.
it's a bit of both.
Maybe they're
Yeah,
fallible in some regard,
yeah,
right? You know?
yeah. Maybe it's a bit of both. You don't
Hmm.
know.
Right, right.
Either way, it's we have very limited defense against it, and it's what it is.
I can't believe that. I think we got. I mean, if you figured out how to make these things appear by frequency tones and the strobing of light, I mean, for God's sakes, we should be able to beam whatever it's beaming at us back at it. I mean, the mimicry is one of the, you know what I mean? If we can get whatever that signal is, right? You just blast that back at it. At least you can piss it off. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
maybe. I did actually during one of my tests. Actually, it's I wanted to see what would happen. So if the type 3 spheres are AI based, as I say,
right.
So what happens if you blind the sensors?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if it acts like our own aerospace, like our own aircraft. So you have in our own aircraft, you have the flight computer, and then it has the sensors around the plane, which fly the plane for you.
Right.
But if you give the data's corrupt, if you give the sensors corrupt data, where you overwhelm them or something like that, then the planes start to act up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like a denial of service attack, right? Like a DDoS attack.
Yeah. So I kind of did that in 30 East Drive to see what would happen, and the sensors went wild. Actually, there was all sorts of funny things going on all around the house, and it sounded like it had some sort of system crash or something.
Really?
Yeah, and then it reboots and then comes back online again.
Holy shit! So what'd you do? How'd you do that? Did you flood it with the same frequency?
No. I just blinded it. I strobed.
Just strobed everything. Just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Because if these things are using some sort of night vision to see around them, they're not emitting infrared. If they were, you could easily see them.
Right, like we can see infrared like lights, and when you have an infrared camera, you see an infrared light. Yeah.
So they must be doing it passively. So they must be amplifying photons that are hitting the surface of the sphere of the object, of the surface of the sphere. So you just overwhelm it. You blind it.
Just flood it. Yeah, just like flooding it with it. Whoa.
And the AI goes crazy because it's just like, what's going on?
Because it can't take in all that information. It can't take in all the data.
Yeah, or it's corrupts data, and then they will freak out and have a freak out, and that's what seemed to happen.
So what happened? All the sensors just started going nuts. Was like
sensors went nuts. We were hearing all sorts of funny noises on the mics. So it was like dancing around the rooms, like it gone haywire.
Whoa.
And
then it got quiet, like it rebooted, got quiet.
It went away. Yeah.
And it came back up. Holy shit. So like, you could potentially drive that out of your place. And like, if you're living in a house and this shit's going on and you don't want it there anymore, you could potentially just keep that shit up until it decides to go away or blow your stuff up. Right.
Oh, this is why I say, like, whenever you go near these like haunted houses, like proper bad places, you'll notice that buildings around them are also active as well, but just not as much. Whenever you say, "Oh, this house is haunted," they'll say, "Oh, my house is a bit haunted as well," or like people in the area. So obviously, like if you talk about networks, then you'll talk that's load balancing. So it's like if it can't go through the main route, it will redirect it through another.
Right.
As long as it's on the same general path, it will just redirect it. And I think that's what's occurring as well. So you might have one of these objects like in your attic, and you probably can't see it. You don't know it's there. It will just sit there for maybe years passively, yeah. And then once in a blue moon, it will fire up, start causing emissions. It will cause a diversion, like a banging, or something will fall over, and then it will shut down again.
But why the hell, Patrick? Why are they in the fucking house? I mean, they can't. I mean, before houses were here, what are they in the trees? Like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Why can't it just be in the fucking tree? Or
I think they use anything that shields the emissions. So I think they also I think they use holes in the ground. It's like a Skinwalker when Travis moved the top like a metal sheet.
Yeah, like the shithole. Yeah, the septic tank. Yeah, and he got burned in his face.
He got hit with radiation, and he was in a bit of a bad state.
Yeah.
So I think they operate in the ground, or as in holes in the ground.
Caves, whatever.
I think they use anything that shields the emissions. So even under bridges, even tunnels, even caves, or but obviously, like any network, it has to go where it has to go.
Because it has to have that connection to make it work, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is routes right through populated areas.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense that they're just there. I mean, they do care. I mean, it's interesting that they give a shit enough about humans to ward us off. You know what I mean? Like they care about, like, the baby thing was huge. You know, the baby stroller. I mean, that was massive. You put that thing on there and it keeps pushing it away because the AI knows. So they have to give a shit a little bit of shit about us, because if not, they wouldn't be doing the whole poltergeist thing. They wouldn't be moving us out of the way. They would just be we vaporized you, right? Like, it's interesting to think about that, you know, because if they didn't really care and they have that power, they would just whatever, right? So maybe it's a symbiotic relationship. They need us for something.
Maybe
it'll wipe us out, you know. Maybe they eat us. I don't
know. but yeah, I mean, it seems to be that way.
Yeah. That's but it'd be interesting to find out if, you know, you could drive it out of the area in a way, you know, like
well, technically, if a sphere is inside a building and there's too much how can you put it? It's like
too much interference with it.
Well, if there's a lot of people and a lot of constant problems, then it's highly likely it causes lag in the network. It causes a lag. So it's saying, look, I want to broadcast, but I can't because there's all these people in the way, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It causes a lag. So if I suppose the bigger the lag, it will then reach a point where it says, enough of this, I'll go next door.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's just rerouting, right? Load balancing. It just needs to get away from it. Yeah. So yeah, there's probably not a lot of this happening in, you know, concert halls and like whatever large people get, you know, big group of people like football stadiums, whatever, right? I mean, they're not probably hanging out. There's a bunch of people, but
the best places are deserted old buildings.
Yeah.
All the ones they say are haunted. You see, they're, you know, it's why actually, you know, what you see these like these YouTube channels where they find a house in the middle of the wood or something, and and they go in there and there's some weird activity going on.
Right.
But it's perfect because you've got the building to mask your signatures and you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, interesting. You're right. Yeah. You would think, though, that if they had that type of tech, why would they need to mask their signatures? You think they'd be able to way to mask it anyhow? But we're speculating on things that, you know, we have no answers to. I mean, that's just one of those things.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on how good the sensors are on the other devices. I did think of this is that so if they're producing microwaves, and microwaves or high energy microwaves can heat the air, right?
Yeah.
So it could be why these buildings get so cold, because what they do is that they're purposely changing the temperature of the building to mask the heating from microwaves. So if something's looking down at it, all it will see is a lot of cold on the land. It won't see any sort of
heat signature.
It will just blend. And obviously, if you look down on the Earth through thermal, you find that there's more cold than there is heat. So it just blends in.
Wow. How the hell do they do that? How do they drop the temperature?
I have no clue.
Need those for refresh. We just need to hook them up and use that as my air conditioner for my house.
Yeah.
Plug that shit in and have it go in the summertime, right? That would be rad.
That's how it seems to be. So, yeah.
Well, dude, thanks again for hooking back up with me and you know, breaking it all down. I'm excited to see your new interviews coming out and your documentaries when you get those going. And I still want to know what you signed so that you can talk to me for 2 years.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Well, one day we'll figure it out. Well, cool, man. Well, awesome. Well, thanks again. I mean, obviously, we'll I have all the links in the description where everybody can find you and your book. I mean,
Mhm.
I think you got something, man. I think it's rad. I'm excited. I'm not as scared of ghosts now anymore than I before we started talking, but I am more scared now of the things that are happening and frame rates around me that I can't process with my eyes. So there's that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait. So thanks again, man. I appreciate it. Dude.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. It's always good to have another IT person to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's easier, you know.
It is. It is. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.